My last job related to the field was in Costa Rica in a research station, and I was the campus coordinator for an NGO that is working for conservation of the tropical forests in Costa Rica. The job was in Osa Conservation. It's called the NGO, and it was located in the peninsula of Osa, which is in the South Pacific. It's like a very remote area where there's very untouched and pristine ecosystems. So they have a big project for conservation, but the one that I worked in was specifically for the research station, which itself also has like several projects. And then I would work with my supervisor at the moment, who is the manager of operations, the operation manager. And we would just start checking what tasks should be done and what were our priorities of the day. And then I would do them. Actually, if I look at it in retrospect, I think like the course changed my whole way of looking at the world, or rather than change it, it kind of helped me understand the reality in which we live nowadays. So for me, the most important lesson that I learned in the course as a Latin person was when we started learning the topic about post-colonialism. When I learned colonialism itself, which was back in school, like you start learning it when you're 7, maybe, a little bit of historical facts. It was a concept that was part of history. So it was something that happened a long time ago and that should be forgotten. So when I started learning this, and ironically coming from a place that was colonized by Europeans, and I started learning it when I'm in Europe, it was a little bit shocking first to grasp it. But it started helping me make sense of a lot of things that I lived as a Latin person in Latin America. Then when you go into the specific context, it is an NGO that was locally founded. So I think both of the founders were Costa Ricans. But eventually it started evolving into something that is also very influenced by Western point of views. So mainly now at the moment, the director is a person from the UK. So I could see like how things can be influenced in the management point of view. I start seeing how it can be put in practice, right? So a lot of the research was mostly quantitative. So if you see that, it's like, okay, so nature is number, like conservation efforts are translated into numbers, this sort of thing, which is like very mainstream, right? This is how research happens. You start questioning, right? Okay, what does conservation really mean? Does the animals and the plants and nature itself, does it really needs us to be there? Or are they even better if we're just letting them be? Yeah, I would say that I guess that if you're open to it, you will feel its use later on. So it's not in the moment that you realize, oh, I'm going to use this for this in my thesis or in my internship or in my job even, right? But if you're really open to it, I think organically it will come a moment where you will understand, this is what they were teaching me, or this makes sense under this sort of approach, let's say. So yeah, it's to be open for learning